Alright, I haven't been real good about keeping a garden journal this year. Started out good, but then it waned off. So here we are, early August, August 7th. I wanted to check in with the garden, take some notes, and maybe offer you YouTubers some tips or something if you can glean any goodness out of this. So we'll try to go as quick as I can here. Alright, I'm back in on the cukes. Cukes did not do too hot, but we are getting some out of them. I did a row of pickling cukes and a row of fresh eating cukes. Meh, not bad. I did get some rhubarb from my aunt and uncle. We got that in this spring. Not early enough to harvest any, but we'll have rhubarb in this corner of the garden for the years to come. You see I did a lot of chips over here to keep the field at bay. That's just cardboard and a bunch of wood chips, which I got from a local arbor. Good deal. Alright, moving real quick here. Still using these, I'm loving actually using slabs for walkways. That hasn't negatively impacted any of the plants. It's made it real easy to walk through the garden and everything, and no weeding obviously under the slabs. Garlic, all that garlic, 120 cloves we put down, did great. It's all drying in the barn right now. We pulled that up, I guess probably a week ago. Strawberries, we didn't get any strawberries because the squirrels, chipmunks got them all. So next year, but they'll be coming back next year. So I'm gonna have to get some netting and try to keep the chipmunks out of my strawberries. I have 3 varieties of strawberries going here with the idea that we can get as long of a harvest as possible. All right, so there's a row here. This row did not do real well. This was meant to be the early row, like some early greens and broccoli and stuff. None of it really took, but the idea was that I did the winter squash next to 2 rows of earlies. So now the squash has a bunch of room to grow out, and so even if the broccoli had done well, or the greens, we did some arugula down there, all that can be pretty much done harvesting, and the winter squash can have all that whole nother row to grow into without encroaching on anything. Spaghetti squash is doing real well. It's put a lot of fruit on. This seems like the plant's dying back. Hopefully that's not too detrimental. The other squash we did was butternut, and that still seems to be doing well. A little late to put on all the fruit. Here's a row of cabbage. I harvested a bunch of cabbage first year we did cabbage, came out well. I just made another batch of sauerkraut with it. Reds and greens, probably do more greens in the future than reds, just a little more tender and delicious and versatile. And actually I'm going to try to put some cabbage back in the ground shortly, and maybe use a row cover if it goes late in the season. But again, idea being, now that the cabbage is harvested, the winter squash can grow into this patch. This is the year I've done the most successional planting. So here's a planting of lettuce, and spinach down there. And that's good. That's right next to the tomatoes. We have one nice big beef tomato that's turning red. We'll harvest any day. And the Matt's wild cherries have done, like, they're out of control. A lot of fruit on. Haven't harvested a lot of them yet, but we will be. Planted a lot of marigolds in and about, and those have been a lot of fun. Alright, tomatillos are banging. Like, these things are animals. I don't know if I can try to show you one here. Like, real cool little things. I can't wait to harvest them, turn those into some fermented salsa. We have had tremendous luck with our luck, I don't know, is it luck? Our summer squash and zucchini. You can't keep up with it. And that's just one row of alternating summer squash, zucchini, summer squash, zucchini. Real well there. I did a successional planting here. This is where my peas were. I put in another row of carrots. I think the first batch of carrots I did not put enough water on. So I've been watering these religiously in the evenings, and they're coming up. And kale at the far end. Kale, that's the plant that has grown on me the most this year. I've been loving it. I put it in a breakfast every morning. We make salads all the time. This was a thing that I did with like staggered planting, thinking I could get more in one row, but it didn't really work out that way, and I think I'm going to bail on that. So remember that for next year. All right, peppers. I've got these pepper starts down the road. I love the peppers in the cages. I do not like tomatoes in cages. Some of my tomatoes, I don't know, my starts didn't do real well all around. So, but some of these wild cherry ones actually made it. We've been enjoying our green beans. I'm digging the non-pole beans just because that way I don't have to put up a pole. So I have a row of green beans for fresh eating and a row of black beans. I'll have to report back to you on how that pans out. I'm hoping to save, dry and save black beans for use through the winter. All right, on to the taters. I've harvested one row of taters. That was a blast. My daughter and I digging potatoes. She was like, if you ever gone deep sea fishing, it was like that for her. Like, when you get one, you yell, "Fish on!" And she was just pulling up potato plants and getting all excited whenever she found one, which was a lot of fun. And then so that's one. We're gonna pull these up soon. Those potatoes over there. This row we did, and then I did a successional planting of a fall green manure mix sold by Johnny's, and I used, if you've seen any of my other stuff in my chicken zone, I have my chickens making compost for me, and I put all my grass clippings and stuff back there. So I planted the fall green manure mix, and I use a nice thin layer of compost and grass clippings to try to keep the moisture in there. So I'm hoping that's going to add a lot of fertility to the soil. So I like that method. Onions are ready to come up. They did well. We'll be pulling those out. Right now they're curing in the ground for a couple weeks, and then we'll pull them out, dry them on the side, and then dry them in the barn. So 2 rows of that. And then this is the row of my carrots. Even though like maybe a third of the carrots made it, they've been wonderful. That's been the thing that my daughter has enjoyed harvesting the most. So we will definitely be doing it. I did a fall row of carrots, which I guess maybe I told you about that. Carrots and kale. But anyway, this was, I think this was a good method. There's a bunch of holes in the black plastic there staggered along. I think I can get a lot of carrots out of that without having to worry about weeds, but I need to water it, and that was the biggest thing. Also, I bought pelleted carrot seed, which I like, and I think I'll do that again. Okay, that's the annual garden update, early August. Cheers. All right, and for the encore, this is the other annual plot that I run, and I had one kale plant make it. Again, I think it was a water issue for my kale and my spinach over here. And then I did a successional planting. We pulled some lettuce up back here, and I have put in beets, radishes, and sunflowers late. Like, I don't know if we'll get a sunflower blossom out of it, but whatever, we got them in the ground. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, that's it.